All right, everyone, welcome back to the Dead Pundits Society. Today, we're going to be looking at some of the leagues that we follow and predicting the rest of the season. I mean, we're so far about halfway through, both in the Premier League, which Jake follows quite frequently, and the Serie A, which is more my area of expertise. And so we're going to start with the Premier League as it's the most followed league in the world currently. So we have a few categories here, but we're really going to focus on the champions, the UCL and Europe categories, and of course the relegation with the other teams just kind of fitting in the middle. Without further ado, why don't you kick us off, Jake? Who do you see as the champion of the Premier League this season?
Yeah, it's hard. I hate to admit it, but it might finally be Arsenal's year. I thought it would be City until they went on a three-game drawing streak in the last three game weeks against, Brighton, Chelsea, and Sunderland. I think that's kind of thrown them off a bit, and in the meantime, Arsenal has managed to keep the gap the way it is. Um, So I hate to say it, but I think it's probably Arsenal at this point.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think at this point, it would be fair to say that it's Arsenal's league to lose. They've got a pretty sizable cushion at the top of the league, I believe something in the region of 6 points. And they do look quite solid. I mean, defensively, they've not been as solid as they were at the start of the season. I really thought they were on track to beat the 15 goals record of Chelsea at
Yeah.
some point, but that's no longer going to happen, of course. But I do think they've been struggling with some injuries this year. And now they're getting some important players back, like even a Kai Havertz, who a lot of people meme, but is quite solid for Arsenal sometimes. And if Victor Gyökeres starts playing a bit better, even though I did predict him as a flop earlier this season, which I'm feeling kind of good about. I think they're looking pretty solid. What about Champions League? I'm gonna kick this off. I think this comes to no one's surprise. I think Man City are pretty much a lock for
Yeah,
this. I think
for
they'll
sure.
maybe even make a push for the title with their recent signings. They signed Semenyo and Guehi. I don't think they'll have enough to overcome Arsenal. Also because of some of the noise surrounding Pep. Maybe it's his last season. But yeah, I do think that they'll be pretty solid, and I see them pushing Arsenal a decent amount of the way. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like I said, they, they've had a couple draws that have thrown them off a little bit. I think they'll definitely finish second. I think very few people would doubt that they'll finish at least second. It'll really come down to Champions League as well, because both Arsenal and City are teams that are obviously gonna want to compete in the Champions League and go as far as they can. Um, Arsenal has really good depth this year. City have good depth. They've made some huge signings recently, actually, with Semenyo and Gehi. So that could help them a lot in their push for the title. But yeah, I think they're comfortably second. And then third, I think, is comfortably Aston Villa as well.
Yeah, I think they're looking pretty good for now, so I'll put them in third. I think they aren't going to have quite enough to challenge for the title long term. I think their squad is still not as deep as City's and as Arsenal's, but I definitely think they're a lock for the Champions League. Also, I think we should assume that the Premier League is probably going to be one of the two leagues that has 5 spots for the Champions League. We still have space for another two. I'm gonna go for a bit of a rogue shout for one of my fourth team in. This isn't necessarily in the order that they're gonna finish, but I think Man United's making the Champions League, man. What do you think? Is
I
that controversial? Is that a crazy take?
I I don't think they're gonna finish above Liverpool. I think their way to make it would be fifth. Like you said, I think the Premier League will have 5 spots next year, right? For champs. I mean, I guess it's um I don't see them finishing above Liverpool personally, but just because of them being united and bringing in a manager halfway through the season might be a little turbulent. The thing is though, Man United actually unironically have a very good squad. I want to put Chelsea in fifth. Like I think we're good. I think we have um a lot of star players. We have more like, big time star players than United, but I actually think United have more depth than we do. Not depth necessarily, but like their second team hypothetically is maybe better than ours, just because a lot of our second team is really young, with less experience. Man United have some proven players in their squad. Um, I don't hate it. I think it'll be a toss up between United, Chelsea, and Newcastle, but my heart believes Chelsea will finish fifth, but we can put United here for now.
I just see United as having more of a chance because also their schedule, right? Like they're not going to play any more cup games. They're going to be able to focus
That's
100%
true.
on the league. They'll likely have a bit of a new manager bounce with Carrick. Like he's someone that really understands the way Manchester United play. I mean, Chelsea might have the same under Rossinier, but I just feel like Chelsea, it'll be tough for them also considering some of their injuries this season, considering the fact that they're still in the Champions League. They're
Yeah,
definitely going to make the playoffs. That's an extra two games. Like, I think Manchester United just have more of a possibility due to their schedule more than, and their squad is actually really good. I mean,
they
Amarim
have a
didn't
good
get the best
squad.
out of them, but I think they're good. So
They
I
definitely have
would
a
leave
good
it like
squad.
this personally, but if you feel really strongly about Chelsea over United, we can move it around.
No, the Champions League thing is a good point because we were still in that competition and we've done pretty well. I think we're like 12th or 13th, something around the early teens. Um, yeah, that's fair. I would definitely put us
Yeah.
next up in that Europe category though.
So I
I
think
guess
we
it
have
depends on
three more
Newcastle
spots.
as
Three more
well,
spots
but
for Europe. But I mean, we're gonna just go based off league position because we don't know who's gonna win the FA Cup yet, of course. So we have two for Europa League and one for the Conference League. So yeah, I think Chelsea has a good chance of being there. I mean, they've been quite poor in recent weeks, but they still have all the time in the world to kind of pick it up. I would put Newcastle there as well. I think Newcastle have a good chance to uh, come up the table. They've had a lot of injury issues. Wissa's been out for most of the season. They've been struggling a little bit this season without Isak. But I think they still have a better squad than most of the teams that are still in the list. And then I want to put a
uh,
rogue shout for eighth. I mean, maybe it's not that rogue, but I think Brentford are
dude,
gonna
I
finish in
I
the
think
Conference League
it's
spot.
I think it's gonna be Fulham, to be honest.
You think?
I think Brentford have been flattered by some like their last five games they've been undefeated. But I've watched Fulham play recently and I think they're a good team. Like I've been really impressed by the way that they've played in certain games. I mean, both teams are undefeated in the Premier League in their last five games, which is pretty funny. But it could be Brentford, it could be Fulham, but we're talking about really fine margins here, right? There's only 2 points separating them. And even between Brentford, who are in fifth with 33 points, like you have 11th and 12th on 29 points. That's 4 points. That's not that big of a difference. It's going to be quite tight in those places. I'd lean Fulham, but I'm not going to overrule you if you feel strongly about Brentford. I
No,
think
I don't feel that strongly about it. I mean, like we'll see how it goes. I think we might be seeing some European music playing in Fulham Road next year. So yeah,
Thiago's been great for them. Their striker, Igor Thiago, they were concerned about how
yeah,
they would fare without Wissa and without Mbeumo,
Boom, yeah.
but he's been great.
Okay. So then we've focused on the high achievers of the season. Now let's maybe go to some teams that might be a bit less fortunate. So
Yeah,
in the relegation zone, again, I'm going to start with a team I think is going to be dead last. I think that's Wolves. I mean, Wolves have 7 points right now.
100%.
They have
100%.
picked up recently in recent weeks, right? They've won their first game, but I still think that they're a terrible team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Derby County's record. I don't think they will. I just think they'll get enough points, but I still think they'll finish with a sub 15 point season, which is the lowest we've seen in a long while.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be the lowest in like it's 20 years. I do think it's funny because I thought for sure they were gonna destroy the, the Derby County record, and then they kind of locked in. To be fair to them, they're on 7 points now, so they're only 4 points away. It's a pathetic season from Wolves though. Like I'm not trying to bash them. Wolves are kind of one of those teams that for a long time I think a lot of Premier League fans kind of like had a soft spot for. They were like a fun team to watch. They had this whole Portuguese thing going on. Their managers were entertaining. Um, But yeah, the fall off is just ridiculous. I mean, they're just so bad. I can't they'll be lucky to finish with 15 points. I think you're right. I think it'll be less than that, to be honest.
Okay. The next up, I want to propose Burnley as a candidate to go
Yeah.
down. Again, nothing against them. I kind of like Burnley. They're like a little club that, is always trying to come up, and they very often go down. But I think this will be one of the cases where they're going straight back down. I just don't think they have the squad to compete in the Premier League right now. But I think they'll definitely go to the last couple game weeks, but I don't think they'll quite have enough to escape the drop.
Yeah, I agree. I think Burnley is a comfortable team to go down as well. I This next one gets tough, man, because on paper, West Ham are 7 points behind Nottingham Forest, which is like not insignificant. That's a pretty sizable gap. I mean, that's two wins and a draw, assuming the other team loses 3 games. Um, but I just I don't know if I just don't want to believe West Ham will go down. Like West Ham, I don't know what's going on. It's a disastrous season, to be honest. I don't think anyone anticipated it to be this bad. I really want to say surviving, like barely surviving, kind of like Everton used to do, but 7 points is significant, dude. It's a
Yeah.
tough hill to climb. What do you think?
I think West Ham is going down, to be honest.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, I think they've signed some players. Tati Castellanos might be a very good player for them. The striker from Lazio, they just signed him for about 30 million. I think he's a good player. I mean, he'll score some goals, but 7 points is quite a difficult deficit to overturn. And I just feel like a lot of the West Ham players aren't maybe used to being in relegation scraps, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's
true.
tough to be in that situation when you're not used to it or when you think that you're too good for that. I think January will be quite telling. The fact that they've spent this much money on a striker shows that they are trying to stay up, but they might lose some of their key players as well. Like they lost Kudus last year, for example. He was quite good for them, and they've suffered accordingly. So. I don't know. I'm not convinced they'll have enough to stay up. Personally, they lost
Right.
Fulkrug. I'm pretty sure he was playing for them, and he just got signed by AC Milan.
He
So
was
some,
pretty bad though. He was
yeah, it's pretty bad, but
really
still, it's showing
disappointing.
how some players are already starting to move towards the exit. I want them to stay up because I do think they're, a historic Premier League team. Like it's nice for them to be in the division, but sometimes, these big clubs don't do enough in the transfer market, and their owners are notoriously among the worst in the league as well.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think
true.
I think it's their time to maybe spend a little bit of time in football purgatory in the championship.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to these mid-table and surviving. Do we want to put four in surviving and five in
Yeah, I
mid-table?
mean, I think it's pretty. I think, for example, Spurs mid-table,
Dude,
Sunderland mid-table.
they're in Champions League though. Spurs, unironically, there's a question to be had about them potentially finishing like where they are currently. They're in 14th currently, and they look to be they're probably going to focus on the Prem.
This is
I mean,
how this is
not
how
even
I see it currently. Something like
what's
this.
I think Everton's going to be mid-table, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can put five and four. I think Everton are going to be I think mid-table, like they're 12th currently. I don't think they'll finish yeah, I guess well, assuming this surviving is counting 13th, which I don't really think of as surviving, but yeah, I guess do I see them finishing above Bourne? I see them finishing above Bournemouth. Um I think that's a little harsh on Brighton. Brighton aren't haven't been bad, man. It's been a good season, so like decent
Yeah,
season
I
so
I
far.
agree actually. I'll put Brian. Okay, I'll do this, and I'd honestly, I'll do like
Palace
this
down.
maybe
They're
because the thing
losing
is,
they're losing Gehi. Like
yeah, they're
that's
losing Gehi, and also
confirmed.
Oliver Glasner just announced that he's leaving at the end of the season as well. So
Yeah.
that might play into the way that the
Yeah, I
squad
agree.
performs.
You know what?
So.
They're definitely surviving then. That's true. I didn't even
I
think
think I
about
think
that.
Palace might even like risk a little bit towards the end of the season, I dare say. Like I don't know. I think it'll be, but I think they'll be fine. But they'll probably finish around 15, something like that. Like that's
It's
how I
yeah,
see it.
that's a Palace season. They usually float somewhere between 10th and 15th, with the odd
All
season
right.
in the top 10. Yeah, I feel
So
pretty good
yeah,
about this.
I think we're happy about these predictions. Obviously, let us know in the comments if you disagree or you have any, if you think any of our takes are outlandish, especially maybe the Man United one for Champions League.
Yeah,
But let's move on to the Serie A. So yeah, Serie A, I mean, I think it's an interesting league. It's been very balanced the last few years. Like we haven't had a repeat champion since 2019, 2020. So it's been quite a few years. And one of the most exciting leagues in Europe, in my opinion.
definitely. It's one of the most
What do you say?
competitive.
What do you think as a or as a champion? Like who do you see having maybe one step over the others?
Yeah, so I had to do a little bit of research going into this just because like I'll watch big games or I'll put them on in the background, but I can't say that I would never claim to be an avid Serie A watcher. Maybe that'll change when we get into Fantacalcio next year, but
Yeah.
I'd say I looked at the top four, and I saw that all of them are undefeated in their last five games in the league, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen that before with top four in a league. That was kind of mind blowing. I It's hard. I think that, you know, it would be obviously easy to say maybe Milan as the champion, but then I looked at AC Milan and I saw one loss the entire season.
Yeah.
That's pretty consistent form. That's nothing to be laughed at. And I don't know who that loss came against. Maybe you do know,
It was
but
in the first game week against Cremonese at
was it
home.
actually?
They
Oh,
haven't
that's
lost in
crazy. Yeah.
19 games.
Dude, so with that said, sorry, I meant to say Inter before, but yeah, but I think Milan will be my guess would be Milan as champions. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. So I think personally, I do think Inter is going to win just because Milan, their stats don't tell the full story about their season. I think they've been quite lucky in a lot of games. Like just to give you an
Seven draws.
example, yeah, but just to give you an example, like in two of their last three games against Genoa, they drew 1-1 at home, and Genoa missed a penalty in the 97th minute to win that game. Against Fiorentina, the game week after, they were drawing 1-1 and they scored in the 90th minute. And then
I saw that.
Fiorentina
Yeah.
Fiorentina hit the crossbar in like the 95th minute from like 2 yards out. It was absolutely insane.
That's
Mike Maignan has saved like three penalties. So I'm not saying that they're not a good team, but I do think they're overperforming a little bit relative to their quality. I also think that they do have an advantage in that they're not playing European football this year and they're
yeah,
already
that's the
out of the
thing.
Coppa Italia, so they only have one game per week. We saw how crucial the one game per week schedule was last year when Napoli was able to take advantage of that to beat an Inter team that, in my opinion, were superior, but had a lot of games on a lot of spinning plates with the Coppa Italia semifinal and the Champions League final, of course. So it's not a crazy shout, but
That's why I because when I saw they're out of the Coppa Italia and not in a European competition, that's kind of what sold me. I thought, Inter have historically been a very good Champions League team. I mean, they've been, you could argue, unfortunate or underperforming in finals, but they go deep like every year for a while now, and I think that might be tough
all
for their
right.
squad. But no, you know what? You know more. The thing is, I don't want to overrule you on this because you know a lot more about Serie A than I do. This is like
No,
purely
let's I think
from the
it's
outside
interesting
looking
to do a
in.
bit of a risk, you know. Let's put Milan as the champions. I think I would definitely put Inter as a close second, like maybe even going down to the last game of the season. Now, with the Champions League, it's interesting because Serie A right now are third in the coefficient rankings, but I think they have
Right.
quite some strong possibilities to make that fifth spot. But that being said, it's not as clear as the Premier League right now, so I would still put four Champions League slots in total. And then if they
Okay.
get a fifth one, obviously that just moves everyone a place up. But I think
Okay.
for now, I'll go with four.
I would go then in that case I think Napoli is easy UCL for me. I
I'll
mean
say, yeah, I would say so.
Conte as well is a,
They've
great
been pretty
manager.
poor they've drawn three in a row though, two at home against
That's
poor
true. That's not
teams in
great.
Parma and Verona. So I hope that they don't run out of steam, especially with the Champions League. Conte tends to struggle when he has to juggle multiple competitions.
100%.
That being said, Napoli actually might not even make it to the playoffs of the Champions League, which would be I'd be pretty sad about because it would completely mess up our coefficient, but it would be kind of funny to see Napoli like out of the top
Yeah,
24.
they've had a bad start actually. You're right. I'm saying 23rd. That's
And they're
true. They've
playing
been
Chelsea in the last game, so like that's gonna be a
yes,
tough game for them.
yeah, that's gonna be tough. Well, yeah, we're a turbulent club, so they could fully like that. I that could be anything that could happen in that game. Who knows? But, yeah, I put them comfortably third though. I like
Yeah.
I don't see them. Do you see them pushing for the title realistically or no? You think it's not the
I
year?
don't. I mean, I never want to count out Conte because Conte is like really, in my opinion, one of the best Form 5 managers in the world, at least
Right,
the way I see it. But the thing is, I just don't think they've had the consistency this season. I think it's going to be
right,
tough for them, especially when European games start again. I don't know. Like, I don't see the players might not be as hungry as well because, a team like Napoli, like they've won four league titles in their history, and one league title is already a big cause for celebration, and they really underperformed the last time they were defending a title. I don't think it's going
right.
to be the same this time, but I just don't see them really pushing for the title. So I'd say third. Now, fourth is an interesting one. I
Yes.
personally see it between two teams. So the first
Mhm.
team would be Juve, and the second team would be Roma, my club. So. I think Juve has a slight advantage because they've been playing really well recently under Luciano Spalletti. In the last two games, they've scored 8 goals and not conceded any. And they're playing like a really good brand of football, as Spalletti is known for. I mean, he didn't really show that for the Italian national team, but in his
Of
club
course.
teams, whenever he's had the time to develop players, he's always done that. That being said, I think Roma's been really good under Gasperini. I think their defensive record is one of the best it is one of the best in Europe. And defenses win games, right? Like Roma's won a lot of games 1-0. They've signed two really big players in this January window for us. So that's Robinho Vaz, a young 18-year-old French kid from Marseille, who, even though he's 18, has been playing quite regularly for Marseille and is touted as one of the best French players of that age category.
Yep.
Obviously, it'll be hard for him to have an immediate impact, but he might be phased in as the season progresses. But another one that I'm quite interested in is Daniel Malin just signed for Roma yesterday from
Oh, I didn't
Villa.
know that.
And
Interesting.
Roma's had a big problem with strikers this year between Dovbyk and Ferguson. I think they've scored four Serie A goals, which is not enough for a main striker. I think Daniel Malin is actually going to fit in really well with Gasperini's style of play. Like he likes a more mobile attacker that kind of
Yeah,
moves
agile.
left to right, exactly like that kind of Retegui striker, or Charles de Ketelare, who have been two good players over the last few years. So for me, it's really hard to choose between the two. If I have to choose, I would probably edge Juventus right now. But I think it's a close one. What do you think?
I was gonna say, yeah, a lot to cover there. It's tough to know where to start. Obviously, Juve playing in Champions League, Roma playing in Europa. The thing is, I'm gonna go with what you think. If you think Juve has a better chance, I'll take you on it. My thing with Roma is I wanted to say Roma fourth actually, and that's I know I joke sometimes because you're a Roma fan, I'll try to like rile you up, but I unironically think you guys have been solid. Like when I was looking into your team. My whole thing with you though is where I think you might be not held back is you guys are probably gonna. I know you've had a poor start, a relatively poor start to the Europa. Like I think you've won four, lost two, something like that. But
Yeah,
or
we're on the
um
cusp of the top eight. So
yeah,
yeah.
you've won your last three is what I was seeing, which is good. But the thing is Roma though is probably one of the best teams that's in the Europa League, like realistically. Like the teams that I think will be pushing for it, I think Villa are the favorites for sure. I think just on a purely quality level, Villa are great. They would be my favorites to win it. We'll get to Europa later. But I would say outside of Lyon and potentially Lille, who have had a bad start, but I think are a good team. I think Roma are definitely like top three, top four teams left in Europa, just quality wise. So the question is whether you guys will focus on that, prioritize that, if that might come at the risk of, you know, UCL for Serie A. I don't know. It's tough. I'll go with you and say Juventus, but I think Roma are definitely in the conversation.
That's the thing. The Juventus is really dark, but I did put them in there. But
Yeah.
the thing is, no, I mean for Roma, I think you're right. Like I think Roma will go pretty far in the Europa. Like I'm expecting us to. I mean, depends on the draw, obviously, because if we get Villa right away, we might go out. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
expecting Roma to reach a semi-final or better in the Europa League at least.
I
Juve
agree.
is probably not going to go that far in the Champions League. Like I think for them, if they made the quarters, that would be a great showing this season, considering
Right.
how bad they were at the start of it. But I would say, yeah, like these teams will probably be separated by 1 or 2 points at the end of the season. I do think that. I think that Roma would hold its own against Villa as well, potentially, because I mean Gasperini is quite good in knockout competition, so it kind of depends on how that goes. I mean, Emery's also a master of the Europa League, so it
Yeah,
kind of
he
needs to
is.
see if they choose to prioritize that at this point. But I can see this being the case. I mean, obviously, if Italy gets a fifth spot by the coefficient, that would put them both in the Champions League. But for now, I think it's a bit early to be making those calculations. I honestly, after Roma, I love the look of Como. Like that
Como,
might
dude,
sound
it has to be.
a bit
They kind
weird,
of
but they've been playing
I know
well,
it's
man.
like I don't wanna like hop on the bandwagon. We talked a little bit obviously about Nico Paz and like it's weird because I have no connection to Como whatsoever, but I like them. It's a combination of things. It's obviously Fabregas is their manager. I love Fabregas is a Chelsea legend. I consider him a legend of Chelsea. He's a great player. He was so fun to watch. I like seeing him be successful at that club relative to, expectations. I also even like their logo. Like it's cool. It's also just it's a fun club, but they've unironically with putting that aside and getting into the football, I think they've been very good, man, for a club that has a stadium capacity of like less than 15K. Like it's a
Yeah,
small club that, recently promoted, last couple years.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I think they'll finish Europe. I think they'll be a Europa League team next season. I think that's where they'll end up.
I think so too. I mean, let's be honest as well. Como have huge backers. Like they have the
Yeah,
owners of
that's
this
true.
Indonesian family that's one of the richest families in Asia. But obviously, and so they've been spending a lot of money as well. But like, it's still nice to see a club that's not from the traditional big clubs make an impact. So I see them maybe making a Europa League push. The only thing is that Fabregas' style is quite demanding, and so it might
Yes.
come to haunt them a little bit by the end of the season physically. And I don't know how good their depth is yet, but I do think they could make a push for Europa. I like Atalanta as a Europa
Mhm.
League team. I think
Currently, yeah.
they started out really poorly with Ivan Juric, who's my least favorite manager. He's one of the worst managers Roma ever had, and then almost died at Southampton to beating Derby County's record. But I think Atalanta have picked up since then. Their squad is really deep. I mean, they've got players like Ademola Lookman, who has been touted for 50 million moves for a couple of years now. Charles Ketelare from Belgium
Right.
has been pretty good as well. Scamacca is also quite good in the Serie A. He wasn't that great in the Premier League.
Do you,
Player Ederson as well, their midfielder. He's been capped
yeah.
by Brazil a few times. He's quite a decent player. Carne Secchi as well, their goalkeeper, is one of he's in the conversation of the national team, which Jake hates it when I say that because I say it about everyone. But he's one of the like third or fourth choice goalkeepers that we have.
Do you
So I'll go for them. Yeah.
fair? Do you so this is sixth? Yeah, okay. You think they'll I'm having trouble seeing the Juve logo, but will seventh place get what will they get in Serie A? They get do they get
Actually, yeah,
Conference
that's a good
League
point.
or do
They
they
don't.
get
Yeah, I think it's just one and one, or maybe no. I think it's two Europa League and one Conference
do
League.
you
So
have two
Atalanta
Europa
will
and one
be.
conference?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
That's good for your league if you have seven teams presumably.
I
Yeah.
believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. So,
I'm
but
not
let's
sure
just put it
either.
like this for now.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking. Yeah, let's keep them there. I wouldn't consider them mid-table. That's harsh.
Yeah, it's a bit hard. What are we saying for a relegation?
So I'm gonna kick us off here. I'm gonna let you do it, of course. Like give me your opinions because you watch. But I was looking at it. I think Verona and Pisa are going down for the
Yeah,
record. Those are the two that are at the bottom two. Verona especially look bad, man. Like I was actually like kind of impressed. Not as bad as Wolves. They're probably better than they might be. No, I don't think they're better than Wolves, but they're performing better
I
than
think they
Wolves in
beat
their own
Wolves in the
league.
game for sure.
But Verona and Pisa are going down. Dude, I don't think Fiorentina's gonna go down, man. I like this. It might be another West Ham case. I don't think they're gonna go down. I know they're 3 points behind Lecce, but I think they'll scrape through on the skin of their teeth. The fact that they're a big club, a historic club. I think they're gonna like barely survive. Maybe they'll finish 16th or 17th, but I would put
I
Lecce going
agree.
down before them.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
they're
think
not going down. I mean,
I don't think
Fiorentina finished
yeah.
sixth last season. They're not going down. There's no way.
Yeah, exactly. They're too like it's too big to fail in a way. You know, it's like the classic it's almost like
Yeah.
a Everton type of scenario, but I don't think Cagliari are going down either. I think they're one of those teams that just stay up weirdly, even though I also kind of like them for no reason, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lecce is going down. I mean, it would be a shame for their manager, Di Francesco, because that would mean that he's taken three teams down the last three times he's managed. But
What?
it's not really his
That's
fault.
a
I just think
crazy
I
statistic.
know, but every time he's just had a team that's not really been equipped for the division. Like they play good football, but
Yeah,
their depth, their squad just isn't good enough to stay in the division, I think.
fair.
Yeah, I think another in the mid-table category, I'm gonna chuck Bologna there. I'm gonna
Yeah,
chuck Lazio in there as
Lazio,
well.
yeah.
I'm gonna chuck Sassuolo in there as well. I think Sassuolo has been quite decent this year with Fabio Grosso. They still have Berardi. They have players like Loriente in attack,
Berardi
like
must be
decent
pretty
players.
old now, no?
He's like 31. The thing is, he started
Oh,
playing when he was
what?
18,
I thought
19,
he
so
was
he's
way
still
older
quite
than
young.
that.
Yeah,
Okay, fair. I
but
thought he would be like 35, 36. Fair.
I see
Okay.
them kind of in that zone. I think Torino as well in the mid-table
Yeah,
category.
I agree.
Genoa's a tough one. I think Genoa, they just hired De Rossi, who I'm a big fan of as a manager. I think he was
Of
pretty
course.
good for Roma, quite unfairly sacked. But I don't know if they'll quite have enough to push for that mid-table. I'm gonna put Udinese in there. By the way, like they've been pretty good this year, and Zaniolo, who was struggling to really find his feet in the last few clubs he played at, has been quite good for them as well. I think he's found not to be harsh on him, but he's found his dimension at more of a
Yeah, the level,
mid-table team rather than
right.
a team that's pushing to win titles all the time. Maybe less pressure as well. He's not always known as the most professional player, so maybe also more time for him to indulge in his other activities.
Right.
So I think this is pretty solid. Then surviving, I put Genoa there. I'd put Parma as well. I think Parma's been decent. They have Carlos Cuesta as their coach, formerly number two for Arteta. He's 29 or 30, which is insane. He's really young. But he's been okay. I mean, playing a pretty attractive style of football. I don't think they'll, pull out any trees, but I think they'll survive. And then I'm gonna put Cremonese in that surviving category as well. I mean, Cremonese have been really good. They have about 22 points, which for a newly promoted team is quite impressive. And I just think that they're on a good track to survive. They have Jamie Vardy, of course, named Player
Yeah,
of the Month in November
Vardy
2025.
party.
But yeah, I think this is a solid tier list. Obviously, it will change a bit if if Italy do get that fifth coefficient, that second coefficient spot, and so the fifth Champions League slot. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. For now, they're third, but I think it will depend on how the league phase pans out. Another thing about Fiorentina is actually quite sad is that their chairman passed away today, Rocco
Really?
Commisso. Yeah, he
Oh
was an
wow, okay.
American billionaire that was an Italian-American billionaire, 76 years old, and so he was quite sick and
Was
he
he
passed
chairman
away
for a
this
long time?
morning. About 6, 7 years.
Okay, fair.
He wasn't the most loved in Florence actually, but obviously no one would ever wish something on him. So my condolences and obviously our condolences to the
Mm.
family and hopefully they can see what the direction is for the club. I don't know if they'll sell it or if the remaining family members will run it, but it'll be
If they
interesting to see what happens there.
if they decide to sell it, I think this is separate to the table discussion, but they'll definitely get offers. I mean, it's a big, historic,
Yeah,
important club in Italy, right?
and also an important city in history,
Big,
right?
very
Florence.
important city. Yeah.
I
So
think there'll be some Arab owners potentially interested, maybe some other American venture capitalists as well.
could
Like
be.
it's definitely a club with a lot of upside, and yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Okay, so before we move on to our Champions League and Europa League predictions, Pablo and I wanted to give a quick prediction on Bundesliga, La Liga, and Liga, just on winners. Uh, I think these are a bit more clear cut than the two leagues we've already discussed. For Bundesliga, I mean, I think it's comfortably Bayern. We'll get into more stuff about Bayern shortly. I assume you'd agree. And then
Yeah, for
for
sure.
Ligue 1, it'll be PSG. I mean, there's actually a pretty decent, competition going on in Ligue 1 right now. Lens have been good, and so have Lille. But yeah, I think it'll be PSG for sure. And then
Yeah,
La Liga was close, but I'd say now that Xabi Alonso's been sacked and things are turbulent at Real Madrid, I think it'll be Barcelona.
I think it will be. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting if Dior comes back on a future episode to get some more insight from him as he follows La Liga more closely than us. But I think Barcelona have an
Right.
extra step, especially with the sacking of Xabi Alonso. I think it'll be quite a turbulent period for Real Madrid, as we're gonna see in our Champions League predictions. But yeah, jumping into these, I mean, we've divided it into, some categories: contenders, clubs that could make a deep run, clubs that I think quarters at best. I see that kind of as a bit of a flop category, dark horses, and clubs that will make it out of the league phase slash underperform in general. Like we'll put also, yeah, clubs that are gonna probably go out in the playoffs in this category. So I think
Yeah,
contenders,
I
or
was
we
gonna
can put them
say
in quarters at best as well. We'll see.
I was I was gonna say for contenders, I'll just kick us off right here. I think our number one contender for me, the team most likely to win the Champions League is Bayern. I think they're built different this year. Kane has been great. They've obviously had great success in the Bundesliga. Um, I think multiple competitions and stress of Premier League will catch up to Arsenal. I'd also put them in contenders, but I just think that that will catch up to them. And Yeah, Bayern already have a comfortable 11-point gap at the top of the Bundesliga. So yeah, the other ones I might chuck in there. I don't know how many you want us to put in there, but
Let's put like three or four, I think that we see
okay.
as
My
potential.
four, let me know what you think, but it's pretty easy. I'd put Bayern first, but then the other ones I'd chuck in there are Arsenal, even though I think that, as I said, competitions and stress of Premier League, I think will catch up to them. Um, Man City have been a bit up and down in like Champions League and in the league, and PSG doesn't look quite as good as last year, but I would still put them both in the contenders category.
So you put
Um,
them over Barcelona, for example.
Barcelona will go deep for sure. I think Barcelona have had a rough start to Champions League specifically, even though they've been good overall. But I think I would put PSG over them, but do I put Man City? Yeah. I don't know how many we want to put in contenders. If we want to leave it at just two or three, we can do that. And then,
Yeah, let's
you know,
put three. Let's put three. I think that's a
I,
good
yeah,
small number. Yeah, I agree with you though. I think PSG, they're not looking as ominous as they did
no.
last season. I think Luis Enrique might also leave at the end of the season, so that might be a destabilizing factor.
Well, they've
But
given
I'll
him
put
a
three.
lifetime contract, though.
No, they offered him
They
one, but he
offered,
didn't
yeah,
say yeah. He said no already. Like he said
yeah.
that he's not
Like,
gonna take that. So
it
it's
would have
not it's
been,
not
it
a
would
good
have been
look.
unprecedented. Yeah,
So I think these three are probably the better teams right now. I mean, I think we say it every year with Bayern though, and then they end up underperforming for one reason or another. But this
yeah.
season they
But
look pretty ominous in the Bundesliga. They have, I think, an 11-point lead. They have like a plus 50 goal difference. They're beating like the second place team 6-0 in the league. Like it just looks like they're the odds-on favorites, I think, for this year. And
I will,
Arsenal as well, they've,
yeah.
they've been defensively quite good as well, so I wouldn't count them out, even though the fans will be quite insufferable if they get a League and Champions League double this year.
I will say, maybe, I wouldn't be opposed to, again, I'm not a PSG fan. I like them because I live in Paris, but I'm not a fan by like traditional measures. But I will say I'm not opposed to putting either City or Barca above them. We can put them there for now, but the thing is PSG don't look as good as last year. Like they're still solid, but they've already got the same amount of losses in the league this season as they did all of last season. They don't look quite as solid. Ousmane Dembele just scored a banger chip against Lille last night, so he's back, but he was, out for a while. yeah, anyways, that's what I will say
No,
about them.
yeah, even their I agree, their players aren't looking as good as they were last year. I mean, I think last year a lot of things also came together for PSG to win. Not saying that they didn't deserve to win. I think they were the best team in the league in the Champions League for sure. But Dembele having that season, like I don't know if that's something replicable, right? A Ballon d'Or season for him. So we'll have to see. I mean, for yeah, contender, deep run, I think for sure Man City have a chance, especially if it's Pep's last season. I want to go out with a bang. I think Barcelona have a very good chance. I mean, arguably, I think they should have been in the final last year, and it would have been interesting to see how they would have faced up against that PSG squad.
Right.
I think Inter obviously have a chance to go deep. I mean, they've made two finals in the last 3 years, and they have a team that's used to these later stages of the Champions League. I don't know, maybe Liverpool potentially. Like I don't think that's a terrible shout, but they've been quite
Yeah.
dodgy this season. Like
I'd put
yeah, I'd put one or two maybe in deep run,
I
but
did
I
I
don't
think we
know.
have to just I hate to say it because I know it will contradict what I just said like a couple minutes ago. I think we have to put Real Madrid there just based off of legacy. Like
Yeah, I think so, yeah, for sure.
the
Even though
fact that they've
I think they'll
yeah,
underperform a bit. And then maybe the fifth team, I would say Liverpool or Dortmund have looked quite good as well in the Champions League so far, so they're a shout. I
you
don't
don't
know,
think
Atalanta's been
Atalanta?
good.
Yeah.
They're in the top eight for now, but I don't see them. I see them. Atalanta's core is at best for me, like being
Yeah,
completely
I
honest,
agree.
taking the
I agree.
Italian bias aside. I think Chelsea's also quarters at best team this year, personally. I don't see them going further than that with Rosignor, at least this season. I think Atletico quarters at best, Juventus quarters at best.
Yeah.
Um, then what else? Tottenham
There
quarters at
I
best, or league
no, there's
phase
no
slash
way. There's just
pretend.
no way. Like I know they've actually been okay in the Champions League so far, but I don't really think
I'm
they're
gonna put Dortmund in the deep run category. I think they have a chance. I
they
think
could.
it wouldn't be crazy if they made it like a semi-final, in my opinion. We kind of need to see how it goes
The
with
thing is,
them.
it's so easy to like when you look at those, especially the top six. It's so easy to be like, yeah, these ones will go far, but you never know with Champions League. Like teams get grouped, not grouped. Sorry, they'll get like beaten in the round of 16 out of nowhere. Upsets happen. This is a known thing for this competition.
Yeah,
I actually think dark horse. I'd put Marseille. I don't think they're gonna
yeah,
win the
I
Champions
agree.
League, but they've been good. They've been really good in Ligue 1. They're third. Yeah, I'd put them in dark horse. I could see them being a decent shout.
I think Eintracht might be a potential dark horse. Like they've been okay. I don't know
I don't
exactly
know
what
much
their
about them
is
to be
now.
honest, but
Let me actually check because they might be performing really badly right now. But
they've
they're
been
a potential dark
yeah.
horse for sure. And I
Ajax has
think
been terrible in the Champions
Ajax
League.
have been
Wow.
really bad. Yeah.
Wow, that's shocking.
Actually, no, Eintracht's 30th, so I'm gonna take that back. But I think I don't know. I think Sporting are looking good. So we can put like one or two more dark, maybe Sporting and Bayer Leverkusen. They're also looking quite solid. And then
Yeah,
I think Napoli won't really be a dark horse. I think Napoli's maybe not even gonna make it out of the league phase. So Athletic
that's
Bilbao have also
yeah.
been quite poor. Ajax have been really poor. Benfica have been really poor. Yeah, I
I would
think.
chuck the rest of these in that last category. I mean, yeah, granted, Galatasaray are actually not doing terribly, but I just don't see any of these teams making a
I don't
deep
know. I
run
think
unless we get a
Galatasaray might
Cinderella
be.
story.
You don't think they could have a deep run? They've got Victor Osimhen. They've got some good players there. Like I don't know.
I just see them, yeah. I guess if they get a favorable matchup,
I'm
once
gonna
the
put them in as a
knockouts
dark
begin.
horse. I'll take the risk for this. I think they could potentially make like
It's
a
crazy
round
that we have
16
Napoli in the
quarter
bottom, but I get it though. It's
with
Conte, and
Conte.
I
Yeah,
would, yeah,
exactly.
it still feels, yeah, tough, but you never know. I would
All
actually
right. So
I'd
then,
put Napoli in dark horse, man. I don't
okay,
think they're
let's put
gonna
them
be.
on.
I think they'll be better than like they're just a lot better than the rest of the teams in that bottom category.
Yeah. All right. So I think for the Champions League, we have some interesting predictions. Again, let us know in the comments what you think about them, if some of our takes are a bit outrageous. And let's finally move to the Europa League. This will be a bit quicker since there's a lot of teams that aren't fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Contenders, I think
we,
there's three, right?
I would say
The
Villa is a strong contender. I would say
Villa,
Roma is a strong
Roma,
contender,
Lyon.
and Lyon
Oh,
potentially. They've been pretty
sorry.
good so far, so I'd put them in there. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how they perform when we get to the later stages of the
Uh,
tournament.
and then they've had a tough start, but I'd put Lille in a deep run. I haven't had a great
Yeah,
start to
yeah.
Europa, but they've been very good domestically. I think they have a good squad. I'd put Lille in a deep run.
I'd put Lille. That's a good shout. I think Braga have been
Porto,
pretty good as well. Porto have been okay, but
but Mourinho,
yeah,
but yeah,
I think Bologna could make a deep run, man. Like they're a pretty solid team. So I'll put them in. From the Spanish teams, I think Real Betis could potentially go quite deep. They've been good so far. Yeah.
I
What
guess
are we saying?
yeah. Porto just have that legacy, so that's why I favor them. I know obviously Mourinho's not coaching them now. He's
Let's put them
obviously
in
at
as well.
he's
Yeah, you
at
never know.
Benfica, but I just put them because they're a good team. They've
What
got
are we
that.
seeing as like a dark horse? For me, when I think of dark horse in the Europa League, I think Midtjylland are a potential one because they're second right now with
They
15
are
points. They've
second.
been pretty
Yeah.
solid. And they're not a team
Red.
that people expect,
Yeah.
even though they have quite some solid players. But yeah, I'd say maybe Stuttgart as well. Like I don't think that many people were expecting them to do well. I mean, I'm living there currently, so maybe slightly biased, but I think they could potentially make a run. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like even some of these teams like Freiburg have done well.
I think Freiburg are quarters at
Ferencvaros, I don't know
best, to
much
be
about,
honest.
but yeah, Freiburg I just think are probably quarters at best.
Also
I just don't
Celta
know a lot of
Vigo.
these teams or follow
I
the
think
Europa since Chelsea's
Forest,
not there.
Feyenoord, quarters at best. Braga, dark horse, I think they could be potentially. No one really expects them. They have a really cool stadium, and
Right.
a couple more dark horses maybe. I think
I think the rest of these
maybe
are in
yeah.
the bottom section. I mean, I don't know unless one of them goes
No,
on a
I think
crazy
that's
run.
fair. Yeah. So we've got. I mean, we don't need to put them all like they're. Yeah, all these clubs
Yeah.
are in the bottom section, but we have some clear contenders in my opinion. Like I'm quite confident in saying that the winner will be one of these three clubs,
Yeah, me
even one of
too.
these two. Like I think Lyon is like slightly a level above below us rather the rest of them, but I think either Villa or Roma, assuming that they don't snub the competition, I think they'll be taking the trophy home. So
Villa have
that
got to be the favorites. I mean, like I spoke highly about Roma before, but Villa are just a genuinely and really
I think
good
they are. I
team.
think they are the favorites. I mean, I think Roma tends to get the best out of their stadium in these knockout tournaments. So
That's true.
potentially that could be a big one. I mean, I remember a few years ago Roma played Brighton when Brighton were, with De Zerbi like kind of seen as this unstoppable force. They were like I think fifth or sixth in the Premier League, and Roma beat them 4-0 at home. So I think we definitely have a strong home support, and also our away support isn't bad. That being said, Villa has quite a strong fan base as well, and their players are quite good. We'll have to see how they perform on the day. I mean, they've just given us Daniel Malen, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them.
That would
And
be funny.
they have good players, but like Dibu Martinez, for example, like I'm not I'm confident that he might drop a clanger in a key moment as well. Like I think that's definitely on the cards for him. And
Yeah,
again, Aston Villa, they didn't win the Conference League, right? They got to the final, but I believe I don't remember who they lost against. I believe it was Olympiacos, maybe, or maybe
yeah.
another. Yeah. So Emery is a cup specialist, but it would be really interesting to see them face off each other.
Well,
Like,
we won the conference. We won the conference league last
no, I
year.
mean a couple of years ago, like not yeah, it was
Oh,
a
okay,
few
got
years
you.
back when they were in it, and they were like the odds-on favorite to win it. But I think it would be cool to see Emery face off against Gasperini, like two of the best coaches around right now. Two very different styles of play, but both very interesting to watch. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a solid list. And then if we
Perfect.
want to give a quick shout to the Conference League, which neither of us is following since our teams aren't in it, I just gave a quick look. I don't know much about it, but I guess Strasbourg have been very good. I'd say they're the favorites to win.
Maybe,
Crystal
yeah. I think
Palace are in there, but they've
Fiorentina,
been
maybe.
poor. Fiorentina, I guess, yeah, somehow could pull it out. Then the rest of me is, yeah, I don't know enough about it.
I mean,
I'm
it'll be
not
interesting to
invested
see
enough
if
in.
Strasbourg can still pull it out now that they've lost their coach, right? Rosenior
Yes,
obviously going to
that's the thing.
Chelsea. It'll be
This
interesting to
could
see.
be this could be a year where a team not from the top five leagues wins the Conference League. You never know. It could
Yeah,
happen. But
I
yeah,
agree. So yeah, I mean, let us know what you think as well about the Europa League. Obviously, it's a bit less controversial maybe than the other predictions we've made because there are some teams that are just head and shoulders above the rest. But we'll revisit these maybe closer to the end of the season and see how
for
many we
sure.
got right and if we were way off on some. But we love, yeah, as usual, we love seeing your comments and even when you disagree with us and just opening the floor for the discussion. So. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.